Hi, I'm Carly, and this is the story of my Holocaust survivor, Solomon Radasky. How did I survive? When a person is in trouble, he wants to live. He fights for his life. Some people say, what will be, will be. No, you have to fight for yourself day by day. Some people do not care. They said, I don't want to live. What is the difference? I don't give a damn. I was thinking day by day, I want to live. A person has to hold on to his own will, and hold on to that to the last minute. Solomon Radasky was born and raised in Warsaw. He lived in a town of Praga, and he says he had a great life there. He owned a shop where he made fur coats. His religion was Jewish, and he said whenever a Jewish holiday came around, he knew it. All the stores were closed, and the people were out celebrating. Adolf Hitler was one of the main people in the reason of the Holocaust. He turned everyone against the Jews and had them killed. Solomon is of course the one on the right. He was starved, and this harsh treatment led to many deaths. But Solomon did not die. He fought every day and never stopped fighting. Solomon returned to his home to find that his mother and older sister had been killed. The Germans demanded that the Judenrat to collect all the jewelry of the people. Solomon's mother said she had none. They shot her and then turned to his sister and shot her. His father was also killed in April of 1942. He was buying bread from the children across the gates. He was ratted out to the German police and the man shot him in the back. Then when the deportation started, Solomon's 4 remaining siblings were taken to Treblinka, a concentration camp. After that, he never saw anyone from his family ever again. They took Solomon's clothes, gave him striped uniforms, and wooden shoes. They had to walk 3 kilometers to work every day, and he had been shot in the ankle. If he would limp, he would be shot or hung. On their way out of the gates, they would take their shoes. They were given a string and they had to tie it around their neck. They would have to walk to work barefoot. With the stones on the road, it would cut the soles of their feet, and on the road was blood from the others' feet. Their work was in dirty fields. Some people could not take it anymore. They fell on the road, and if they were unable to get up, they would be shot right where they lay. After he was done with work, they had to carry the bodies back. A man at the back of the line smoked a cigar, and a German leader came up riding a tall black horse. The leader held a whip in his hand. This man was a cruel monster. This man looked up to see the smoke from the cigar, and at that moment, they all knew their day had just gotten worse. Solomon was put on a train and transported to Auschwitz. When he arrived here, he got the number 128232 put on his arm. After he was tattooed, he was given a potato. After he was out of quarantine, he was put to work on the railroad tracks. There was one time that Solomon fell and could not get up. The leader started screaming at Solomon and beat him. He was to stand outside naked for the whole night. In the morning, a truck with the Red Cross came and they piled in one on top of the other. Solomon thought this truck was going to the gas chambers. Instead, he was taken to Auschwitz I camp. When Solomon announced his name, a Polish man asked him questions. Solomon was taken to a corner where another man asked him more questions. They had grown up near each other in their childhood. Solomon was fed well for the next couple weeks. On Thursday, Solomon's friend came by and told him to leave. Solomon jumped out the window, or he would be dead the next day. Solomon was given a paper before he left to go to Block 6. He worked as a coal miner there. People told him it wasn't the best job for him. Nobody lasted 2 weeks. But Solomon met the capo, and he was ordered to make the capo a hat. The capo liked the hat and never hurt or yelled at Solomon. Solomon's next job was to take sand to cover the ashes of the dead. While he worked as that, he saw women being killed and children being thrown into the crematorium, and if he did not do his job, he would be hung by the kitchen for the prisoners to see. Block 20 Hospital is where Solomon was born. The burning of the dead bodies is from the Jews being shot, gassed, and starved, and the electric fence is to keep them in. And if they were to try to escape, I'm guessing they would die. These are the transformation lists. The one that you can see the most clearly is Solomon's. It is in his Polish name. Solomon's friend Sophia had a friend Frida that came over to see her. Sophia told Frida to look through the window and tell her what she saw. Since then, Solomon says, my wife looked through that window and took a fishing rod and she got me. They got married on November 11, 1946. They moved to New Orleans in the U.S. after 4 years of being married. Their first son was born May 13, 1948. Solomon said there were 375,000 Jews living in Warsaw before the war, and there were 5,000 living today. It was very important for me to tell this story. Out of 78 people in his family, Solomon Radasky was the only one to survive.